بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على كل امور الدنيا والدين والصلاه والسلام على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. That's how Moses used to come and say. Bismillah, we go into the last 10 nights of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can do any deed that will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will be counted as related to Qadr.
Amin.
Any dhikr, any subhanallah, any alhamdulillah, any Allahu Akbar, any la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, any salawat from the Prophet, any good deed that we do, we ask Allah so that He accepts it, and we are able to do that during these nights, and that any of that will be of Laylatul Qadr, which is 83 years, 1,000 months, and khayr min alf shahr, something that is better than 1,000 months. Right? Because sometimes when we, as human beings, we tend to need a sense of visualization, to visualize what is going on, what are the results, the ROI, the return of investment. You know, how much am I getting out of this? Like, we need tangible things. We live in a tangible world. We want tangible results. Right? That's one of the ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explaining to us the rewards of what we gain during these last 10 years of Allah. It's a gift. It's a gift by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting is a gift. Ramadan is a gift. The last 10 are gifts for us. Laylatul Qadr as well as a gift. And we have to recognize that as a gift that we need to unpackage and open up, inshallah ta'ala, in the last time. Inshallah, just for a fast reminder, Ramadan reflection for today, inshallah. Something very interesting that I kind of connected and reflected upon when Sheikh Ramadhan was here yesterday. He had lots, mashallah, his stories really amazing. He had this hadith that he talked about, and we're going to go over that, inshallah. Here's the question I want to propose for everyone. What is better, to die as a martyr or to die on your bed sleeping? What is better? What is better? Some may say when you're a martyr, when you die for Allah's sake, you go straight to heaven. You go straight to Jannah, right? What about the person that dies when they're sleeping? Right? What is their fate? There's a hadith by Prophet ﷺ. I'll read that hadith. It was narrated by Talha bin Ubaydullah that two men from Bani came to the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had become Muslim together. So we see two people here. There's two Muslims, but one of them used to strive harder than the other. The one who used to strive harder was the one that went out to fight and was martyred. So he died in battle. So we have one in Indonesian At-Shahid, right? A martyr. One that died in that path. The other one stayed for a year longer, and then he passed away. So we have two right here. First one, they died in battle. Second one, they lived a bit more longer, a whole year, and then they died later on. Meaning they died on his deathbed, on his bed in his sleep. Right? Natural causes. Talha said, the Sahaba, I saw in a dream that I was at the gate of paradise, and I saw those two men. Someone came out of paradise and admitted the one who had died last. Then he came out and admitted who was the one that died last. Is it the martyr or the one that died of natural causes? The one who died last, as this hadith says, and admitted the one who had died last, he was the one who was martyred. So we think about when someone is martyred, or who dies, we think about the martyrs of Battle of Badr. We think about someone who dies in the way of Allah. They go straight to heaven. But he went to paradise last. Why is that so? Right? Then he came back to me and said, go back, for your time has not yet come to go back to Jannah, to paradise. The next morning, Talha told the people of that, and they were amazed. News of that reached the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, and they told him the story. He said, why are you so amazed at that? Right? Why did not that martyr go into Jannah first? They said, O Messenger of Allah, the first one was the one who strove harder and did jihad and fought for Allah's sake. Then he was martyred. But the other one, who died comfortably in his sleep of natural causes, was admitted to paradise before him, before the martyr term. The Messenger of Allah said, did he not stay behind for a year? A whole year passes. They said, yes. He said, and did not Ramadan come? And he fasted. And he offered such and such prayers during that year. So that person that died on his deathbed, he experienced Ramadan. What are we experiencing right now? We're experiencing Ramadan at this very moment. We're especially experiencing the last 10. We, inshallah, have or will be experiencing Laylatul Qadr as well. We're of that. We're of that. We're of that, of those that died on that deathbed, not the martyr at this very moment. And did he not, Ramadan, come and fasted and he offered such and such prayers during that year? They said, yes. The Messenger of Allah said, the difference between them is greater than the difference between heaven and earth. The difference between the one that died in their sleep, that experienced Ramadan after a whole year, versus that martyr that died previously, is the difference between heaven and earth. You really think about what we have at this very moment. You know, we can be in the front lines and, you know, we're not experiencing such battles like the Battle of Badr of today and so on and so forth, but we have this own battle that we're dealing with. This battle of searching for Laylatul Qadr. This battle that will make us in total difference to someone that dies for the sake of Allah versus that person that dies comfortably in their sleep or whatever natural causes, but they experience Ramadan. Okay. There's that silver lining that we have in Ramadan, and that's how special Ramadan is. Okay. There's something very interesting about this portion of Ramadan itself. We know that Ramadan, the first part is Rahmah, the second part is Maghfirah, the third part is At-Thohir, mercy, forgiveness, and liberation or emancipation from the hellfire. Right? In the Battle of Badr, in Ali Imran, we read this a couple of nights ago. There's an ayah. It says, وَلَئِن قُتِلْتُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَوْ مُتْتُمْ لَمَغْفِرَةٌ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرَحْمَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. Should you be martyred or die in the cause of Allah, he's talking about those that experienced the Battle of Badr, of those that were martyred, that died for Allah's sake, then His forgiveness and mercy are far better than whatever wealth those who stay behind to accumulate. Meaning those that did not join in, was that the martyrs received Rahmah, the first part of Ramadan, and maghfirah, the second part of Ramadan. We also said when someone dies in the path of Allah, martyred, they're killed, they go straight into Jannah, right? The same idea goes for the fasting person that experiences Ramadan that we are experiencing right now. We gain mercy by Allah, we gain maghfirah by Allah, and we also gain that itq minan nar by Allah in experiencing Ramadan, as per that second person in the hadith, what he went through. That he soundly went to bed and he went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? That's the immensity of what we're going through in these nights, in these Ramadan moments. Right? And so I wanted to invite everyone, inshallah, to strive even harder, to get a little bit uncomfortable. Right? As how the Prophet ﷺ, he would make the nights come alive in devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? He would tighten his, in the hadith it says mi'zara. Mi'zara is like a belt. Very interesting, the Arabic word, it stems from the word of what is used to tie. It wasn't a sirwal, it was a izarun. Izarun sounds very similar in the Indonesian language as sarun, izarun. Something similar to that's what I'm wearing right now, to kind of demonstrate that the Prophet would tighten it up. Literally, in understanding, he'd get his sleeves ready, he'd also wake up his family to be in these moments of Ramadan, to be in the battle towards reaching Laylatul Qadr, towards reaching these 10 nights. Right? We think about as well in Ramadan, there have been many martyrs. We have the martyrdom of Ali, our Imam Ali. He's a big figure in our Islamic tradition. Right? And then we have many other martyrs that have died for the path of Allah. We also think about our martyrs in the US here. Right? The idea of martyrs is that they did so much, and how do we get to that level? We can use our Ramadan for that. We can use our Ramadan to reach to the level of someone who dies for the sake of Allah. And I'll conclude with a saying of, I already said this, but it's really just to crystallize all about martyrdom and fighting for the sake of Allah and just living these nights of Ramadan. There's an Imam Nawawi, al-Bantani al-Jawi, he comes from the archipelago. He talks about, in Islam, in the Islamic tradition, there is the idea of martyrdom, to die for the sake of Allah. We have those that die for the sake of Allah. What about those that live for the sake of Allah? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that as those that died for the sake of Allah, we can live for the sake of Allah during these last 10 nights of Ramadan, inshallah. We live for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we say, inna salati, that my prayers, wa nusuki, my sacrifice. You think about the martyrs, they sacrifice. It's our time to sacrifice. We sacrifice our time, we sacrifice our financial means, we sacrifice our sleep. Wa mahyaya, and our life. We live in these nights. Wa mamati, and our end of lives. Whether it be in the battleground, the literal battleground, or the physical, or the mental, the spiritual battleground of the heart, where we will die. We all have that inculcated for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the month of mercy, this is the month of forgiveness, this is the month of liberation from the fire. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept us and to allow us to be motivated as how the Prophet ﷺ was during these last 10, inshallah. So tighten your belt, tighten your sarung, get your shoulders in, inshallah. Remember, this is all for the apex of being thankful. This is all for thankfulness. We're not doing a checklist to say, I did my Taraweh, I'm done. This is all for saying, Ya Allah, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Jazakumullah At-Thohir. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.